Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a truly fascinating topic: how scientists use clever, hands-on tests to observe the invisible phenomena happening all around us every single day. From the sound waves bouncing around the room you're sitting in, to the microscopic life thriving right beneath your feet, our entire universe is driven by these hidden mechanics. Now, you might be wondering, how exactly do we measure forces we can't even see? Well, the crazy thing is, our own human senses actually deceive us all the time. We might think we know exactly how loud a sound is, how hot a cup of coffee is, or what dirt is made of just by touching it. But to find the objective truth, we have to rely on structured scientific inquiry. We have to design elegant proofs to capture exactly what our natural senses miss. So here is our scientific itinerary for today. We'll be hitting 5 key areas. First, the power of sound. Second, life's building blocks. Third, heat and measurement. Fourth, the secrets hidden in soil. And finally, understanding invisible forces. Let's dive right into Section 1, the power of sound, making the invisible visible. Let's start with a really cool hands-on test to visualize how mechanical energy transfers. Just picture this. You take some tiny pieces of polystyrene and place them right on a speaker cone. Then you connect wires to the speaker's terminals, take the free ends, and rapidly touch and remove them against a standard dry cell battery. Instantly, those little polystyrene pieces start jumping around. This gives us a brilliant front row seat to how physical vibrations are the actual producers of the sound we hear. That sudden electrical current creates a rapid mechanical movement in the speaker cone, thrusting the lightweight pieces into the air and transforming an invisible auditory wave into undeniable physical motion. But here's the kicker. Those physical vibrations absolutely need something to travel through. Unlike light, which can just blast its way across the empty expanse of space, sound demands a physical medium. It literally requires the particles in a solid, a liquid, or a gas to bump into one another to pass that kinetic energy along. If you were to put that vibrating speaker inside a complete vacuum, where no particles exist to carry the vibration, it simply couldn't propagate at all. It would be total, absolute silence. Moving on to Section 2, Life's Building Blocks, the Architecture of Biology. Now, when we look at complex living organisms, including ourselves, it can honestly be overwhelming to figure out how it all works as one cohesive whole. But it really helps to think of a massive brick wall. That huge wall relies entirely on thousands of individual bricks carefully stacked together, right? Or think of a beehive, composed of those tiny, perfectly shaped hexagonal units. Well, biological life follows this exact same principle. Nothing complex exists without a simple organizational foundation. Every plant, every animal, every human is essentially a highly organized structure built from these distinct microscopic units. And when you zoom in with a microscope, you can actually see these biological bricks. You have intricate animal cells and you have rigid, structured plant cells serving as the foundation of life. Just as our speaker experiment let us see the hidden vibrations of sound, microscopic lenses let us observe these hidden foundational cells. Literally every complex biological process, from a massive oak tree drawing water from the earth to the firing of neurons in your own brain, starts right here. It's just an incredibly elegant system where nature's grandest designs are actually billions of microscopic units working in perfect harmony. All right, Section 3, Heat and Accurate Measurement, Why We Can't Trust Our Touch. We know our eyes need help to see cells, but what about our skin when it comes to thermodynamics? Well, the textbook gives a pretty blunt warning here. Measuring temperature by touching is just not correct. And it's so true. Our skin is a remarkably terrible thermometer. Think about it. What feels intensely hot to you might feel lukewarm to someone else. Or if your hands are freezing cold from being outside, even room temperature water is going to feel surprisingly warm. Because our tactile senses are entirely subjective and easily tricked. We just can't rely on them for objective science. We have to construct dedicated tools. So how do we make the invisible transfer of heat visible and measurable? By getting a little creative with everyday items. If you take a small glass bottle, fill it with colored water, and use an empty pen tube as a stopper, you've just built an elegant homemade thermometer. If you submerge one of these bottles in warm water and another in cold water, you'll see the colored liquid in the warm environment actually rise steadily up the pen tube. This visualizes thermodynamics in real time. It proves how heat transfers into the liquid, causing the molecules to energize and the volume to expand. We successfully take an invisible thermal property and turn it into a highly visible, measurable physical change. Section 4, The Secrets in Soil, Uncovering Hidden Ecosystems. Let's take that heat we just talked about and apply it to the dirt beneath our feet. To prove there's an active biological network hiding in soil, we can use a classic coagulation test. We take equal amounts of boiled, sterilized milk and put them into 2 test tubes. Next, we take a standard soil sample and meticulously divide it in half. We heat 1/2 on a metal plate for 5 minutes, which intentionally destroys any potential life inside it, while leaving the other half in its natural raw state. Then, we add the heated soil to 1 tube of milk, the raw soil to the other, securely plug them both with cotton stoppers, and just wait to see how the milk reacts. The contrast here is wild. The milk mixed with the natural, unheated soil coagulates much faster, totally transforming in texture and consistency. Meanwhile, the milk with the heated soil stalls out and coagulates incredibly slowly. So why the huge difference? Because the coagulation of milk is fundamentally driven by active microbial activity. By applying heat and destroying the invisible life in that first soil sample, we completely halted the biological process. This proves, without a doubt, that natural soil is far from dormant. And this is exactly who was doing all that heavy lifting. There is a vibrant array of tiny insects, worms, bacteria, and fungi constantly hard at work beneath our feet. They are the invisible workforce driving our ecosystem, breaking down matter and cycling nutrients. We might not be able to see them with the naked eye, but thanks to some boiled milk and a clever experiment, we can definitively prove their presence and their power. Finally, Section 5, Understanding Invisible Forces, the mechanics of push and pull. Okay, so we've tracked heat and hunted for microbes, but what about raw mechanical force? A highly effective way to measure a push or a pull is to use tension as a visible proxy. If you attach a simple rubber band to a wooden block and pull it until the block slides across a table, the band stretches a certain observable amount. But if you stack a second wooden block on top of the first and pull again, that rubber band stretches much, much further before the motion actually starts. You can't see the force itself, right? But that stretched rubber band visually demonstrates the massive increase in the invisible effort required to overcome the friction and inertia of a heavier mass. If we swap out that rubber band for a precise scientific device called a Newton spring balance, we can actually assign exact numbers to these rules. We learn that a pull or a push is fundamentally defined as a force, and it always has a magnitude, a specific amount, and a definite direction. In the scientific community, this is measured using a standard unit called the Newton. Forces are the great manipulators of our physical world. They can move objects that are at rest, they can speed up or slow down a moving object, and they can completely alter an object's direction of motion. From the leaping polystyrene showing us acoustic vibrations, to the foundational cells building complex life, to the expanding ink in a homemade thermometer, science gives us the elegant tools we need to finally see the unseen. As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a challenge. Look around the room you're in right now. Consider the solid structures, the ambient sounds, the air you're breathing. What invisible scientific processes, the unseen vibrations, the microscopic life, the hidden mechanical forces are quietly acting all around you, shaping reality right under your nose? Keep questioning, keep experimenting, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.